We do have 3 speakers today, the first of which is Armel Castellan. He is a warning preparedness meteorologist from Environment and Climate Change Canada. Armel, please go ahead.
Hello, thank you so much for having me on this briefing. The following weather briefing will be provided in English, but questions are welcome in either official language, and response will be provided in the language of the question. L'exposé météorologique suivant sera fourni en anglais, mais vos questions seront bienvenues dans l'une ou l'autre des langues officielles et des réponses seront fournies dans la langue de la question. So I will share my screen and start my briefing. Okay, so the climatology of interior BC at this time of year is quite interesting. It's really when we have our wettest conditions during the entire year. So we're in that right now. We're in a very unstable atmosphere. We're getting thunderstorms. We're getting bigger cold low systems come through. And it's going to be a fine balance between getting enough moisture to keep wildfires at bay at least until early July, and not too much moisture, of course, to keep the spring melt and the freshet more reasonable. I wanted to showcase that in the alert page today, we do have severe thunderstorm watches for the East Columbia, the East Kootenay, and Kootenay Lake areas, forecasting areas. These are capable of producing strong winds, very strong gusts up to 90 kilometers an hour, large hail, and heavy rain. And a good reminder that lightning kills and injures Canadians every year. So remember, when thunder roars, go indoors. This image is a thunderstorm outlook. It's available at the link you can see at the bottom. Right now, today, we're going to see, again, continued unstable atmosphere, non-severe thunderstorms in a scattered format across the north, capable up to 15 millimeters of additional precipitation. The southeast, however, this region A at the bottom, has a high risk of severe scattered thunderstorms today, giving up to 20 millimeters additional, 2-centimeter hail, and gusts to 90 kilometers an hour. Here we're looking at the precipitation for this afternoon. We have, again, an active atmosphere. We have an area in the north ranging from the North Peace to the South Peace and into Bulkley Lakes District, potentially giving some additional showers today, particularly closer to the North Rockies, as I mentioned, that 20 to 45 millimeters over the North Rockies, an additional potential with the thunderstorm activity. Again, the freezing levels in this area will be steady around 2,500 meters and kind of building towards 3,000 meters over the weekend. Over the south, however, we are dealing with much higher freezing levels, 4,000 meters, maybe even 4,500 meters through the weekend. And again, there's showers and thunderstorms potential from essentially Okanagan east over here through to the Alberta border and up towards the Kinbasket and North Columbia. And then continuing with the weekend forecast, it will continue to be unsettled. Here I'm just looking at 6-hour precipitation totals, but you can see that it ranges from the Peace, again, all the way to the Central Coast, right down to the South Coast, a little bit into the north parts of Okanagan and the Rockies. So again, continued pulses of thunderstorm activity through Saturday and Sunday. Now, looking a little bit deeper into the forecast here, this is kind of the week starting today. We're looking at this continued pattern of cooler probabilities for the south of the province, really up into the Peace country, and but near average conditions for the Northwest. So it is a continued system that we've seen from the spring right through till today, and that is about to change beyond into the latter half of June and July. So this is looking at July as a whole. We can see that the probabilities are a little bit above average for the interior of BC, kind of Kamloops north, and then we can see the gray or slightly light purple colors to the south continuing that near average temperature outlook for the month of July. This is a good time to say that we don't see a signature for a big or strong heat event in the next couple of weeks, but the chances of seeing heat in July are obviously increased, and we could at that point get into more longer lasting heat events, particularly in the second half of July. The other point to make here is that we do see a drier trend kind of evolving for the last couple of weeks of June beyond the next 3 or 4 days, which is also an interesting component to the forecast. And finally, just a reminder for everybody to stay tuned to the weather on our website, on our WeatherCan app, as you can see here on our right. You can download that and get push notification for all weather alerts. With that, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Armel. Our next speaker today is Dave Campbell. He is head of the River Forecast Center. Dave, please go ahead.
Great, thank you. So we're seeing on the river side of things, we're very much in the middle of the snowmelt freshet season. This is the time of year when the province is exposed to increased risks as that snowpack that's built up over the mountains melts off. We did release the June 15th snow bulletin yesterday and an analysis of the snowpack and how it's going along the province. We saw that we've seen that continued pattern of elevated snowpack and a delay in melt with the cool weather that we've experienced over the last couple of months. Across province, looking at about double the normal snowpack that we typically have at this time of year. And that's really reflecting that we're 3 or 4 weeks late. This time of year, we typically see about 3/4 of the snow gone. But we are seeing that steady melt, and we're only about halfway through that upper elevation snow melt as of the middle of June. We are seeing, particularly in those mountainous areas, that the snowpack remains significant enough to provide ongoing risk to flooding, particularly in the higher elevation terrain. So places including the Upper Fraser, the Caribou Mountains, draining into the North Thompson, the South Thompson, areas of the Kootenays and Columbia, as well as in the Northwest. When we look at conditions, we do expect as this snow melts that we're very much in the peak window of freshet at this point in time. We expect that to continue for the next 1 to 2 weeks as that remainder of that snow continues to come down. And so really this is going to be the period where we have increased vulnerability around the province, particularly in the bigger rivers draining from the higher terrain. We also expect that given the delay in snowpack melt this year, that we are going to continue to see elevated stream flow and above normal conditions persisting into July. But we do anticipate as we start to melt that, or we continue to melt that snow off, that in the coming weeks as we come into the July period, that the risks related to the snowmelt will start to wane. But before that, we really do need to get through these next couple of weeks. The hot weather scenario remains a key concern for flood risk. As Armel described, we're not seeing the potential for that type of pattern in the short term over the next week or so. And we continue to be challenged by the ongoing unsettled patterns that we've seen over the past couple of months, and really tracking in as weather systems come in on a day-to-day basis and provide additional rainfall and rainfall runoff to the rivers on top of that snow. So we see a number of areas of the province that are currently vulnerable and do have warnings out. We have a flood warning out for the Liard River. We've seen some stabilization there over the past few days and are continuing to monitor with rainfall coming in the coming days. We have flood watches out in the Central Coast and up in the Peace River, as well as areas in the interior around the Caribou Mountains and the Quesnel River, the North Thompson and Shuswap River systems, and high stream flow advisories in the Kootenays and along the main stem of the Fraser River. We expect on the Fraser River that we've got a few days lull, but then a slight building as we go into next week. We're currently at about 5.5 meters at the Mission gauge near Mission, and expect that to be within the 5.5 to 5.8 range as we go into next week. with some ongoing rainfall and weather into next week, there is a period of expected rising rivers potential later next week. The River Forecast Center continues to monitor the weather and snow conditions as well as the rivers across the province. And we'll be continuing to update our warnings and advisories as needed. Information from the River Forecast Center, including our snow analysis, modeling, and warnings, is available on the website. That's gov.bc.ca/river forecast. And with that, I'll finish up and pass it back for the next speaker.
Thank you, Dave, and good morning, everyone. As you've heard this morning, large parts of British Columbia continue to face challenging flood conditions. It's important for everyone to be informed and be prepared about these risks, and important to pay close attention, as Armel has mentioned, to the weather forecasts, and equally important to updates from local authorities. If evacuation alerts or evacuation orders are issued, follow all those directions from the First Nations or your First Nations and the local government. If your property is at risk, check to see what support is available, like sand and sandbags, to help protect your property or the property of your neighbors. We've already seen throughout the province some localized flooding and evacuations so far this freshet season. But given the risk, so far the weather has been cooperating. There are approximately 580 people currently on evacuation alert across the province due to flooding. As of today, however, there are no large evacuation orders in place. That said, there is continued risk still ahead of us. So for those in flood-prone areas, I encourage you to plan now. Assemble a grab-and-go bag for your household with the essentials that you would need if you were asked to evacuate. This should include medications and copies of important documents like insurance, and reach out to friends and family who may be able to assist to support you if you are evacuated, so local accommodation is available to those that have no other options. Following the flooding last fall, the province has been working with communities to address vulnerabilities. This includes repairs to and raising of berms and dikes, erosion mitigation work, hydrological surveys, riverbank restoration, and critical infrastructure repairs. These ongoing projects will help diminish flooding risks. Earlier this spring, in preparation for freshet, Emergency Management BC has pre-positioned flood mitigation assets across the province, and we continue to shift resources as the threats shift. More than 500,000 sandbags have been deployed by provincial staff so far this freshet season, and we continue to work with the BC Wildfire Service crews to limit damage when that's necessary. Some of our crews, as an example, are currently working on sandbagging efforts in the interior and in the Fraser Valley. And this weekend we have approximately 150 BC wildfire personnel on standby to support as needed. Our hope is that the weather will continue to cooperate. If it doesn't, there are things that you can do right now to prevent flooding. Make sure your properties, gutters, and drainage areas are cleaned out, and that all storm drains on your street are clear of leaves and debris. And remember to keep away from rivers, edges, and shorelines, and be mindful of children and pets when you're out walking about if you're near creeks and streams. During periods of high flow, riverbanks are dangerous and can be prone to undermining and collapse. And please review and download our flood preparedness guide on the Prepared BC website, which contains very useful information to help British Columbians understand what to do when their home or community may be at risk. Thank you, and I'll turn it back over to our moderator now.
Thank you. A reminder to media on the line, please press *1 to enter the queue. You will be limited to one question and one follow-up. Our first question goes to Zhao Zhu, Globe and Mail. Please go ahead.
Thanks for taking my question. So for communities that are at highest risk, I'm wondering if these areas are protected by orphan dikes.
Can try to answer that. We've got orphan dike situations, I guess, across the province. So there's areas where they do feature. So, given that right now we've got a high proportion of the province that is under high stream flow advisory, flood watch, we certainly see that there are structures that exist in those areas, and including, for example, along areas the Lower Fraser, I believe. I'm not, that's kind of the one that sticks out. But in terms of specific areas, I would anticipate that there are areas that are at risk.
Now, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, I do. So what has been done to ensure these dikes aren't going to fail?
In terms of orphan dikes, one of the challenges is that they're not necessarily tagged to having a local diking authority who's responsible for the upkeep and maintenance. And so it really falls on to the ongoing monitoring and assessment that happens by staff during high flow events. So there's been in areas where local governments have identified risks or concerns over specific areas, that would be where they would reach out for support. And so some of the areas, for example, that Ian was discussing, to bring in additional assets and resources related to things like sandbagging, gabion baskets, or other infrastructure that can help support in areas where there's an identified risk.
Our next question goes to Luke Edinger, CJDC News. Please go ahead.
Much for the presentation. This question likely for Dave Campbell with the River Forecast Center. Just wondering what's contributed to that upgrade to a flood watch from the high stream flow advisory issued yesterday, if you could just reiterate those points.
Sure. So we continue to sort of be responsive to the weather patterns as they come in. So we've seen a number of advisories that have been upgraded over the last day, and that's really been in response to high base flow in the rivers from the snowmelt, and now we're seeing those wet weather patterns come through. So we've seen that upgrade to a flood watch for the Bella Coola Valley and the Central Coast, and we saw those flows come up yesterday. We've recently upgraded the Peace region in anticipation of rainfall rates that are expected through there, and then the flood watches through the central interior have been up for a number of days now, and remain in place, and that is really in relation to the combined snowmelt and rainfall.
Luke, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, follow-up for Environment Canada, just about taking a look at the long-term forecast here. It looks like a chance of rain in the forecast on Thursday, at least here in the Peace, and if you could just kind of talk about how much rain the northeastern corner of the province could be seeing over the next week or
So that's a great question. Because the forecast is fairly difficult to see in through the convective nature, we're really on a mostly day-by-day process here. I spoke to the thunderstorm outlook today and the kind of the wraparound that's coming over from Alberta. So that's in the immediate term, we can definitely see a few dozen millimeters fall today without question. And then, it stays relatively active for the piece. Certainly there's going to be a few breaks in the precipitation, but I would say in the next 4 or 5 days, you've got almost a daily chance of seeing some elevated precipitation, particularly in thunderstorm activity. And then it's really beyond that things really taper off kind of around the 22nd or 23rd of June. So yeah, there's an active period now, and it's going to be a day by day in order to get how many millimeters are projected each day.
Our next question is Michelle Brunoro, CTV News.
Hi there. There was some mention made of sandbagging in the Fraser Valley and crews assisting with that. Can you tell me where that's happening and provide some more details on the risk in those areas?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now there's been some sandbagging and flood mitigation works put in largely on with support to Indigenous communities around the Fraser River. A couple of examples that come to mind. Katzie First Nation has requested some support, as well as up at Cheam First Nation closer to Hope. And largely those communities are at risk because they have a number of areas that aren't protected by permanent flood mitigation works, such as berms or dikes. So we assist them with sandbags, gabion baskets, or tiger dams. And right now, flows are such that some of those unprotected areas are starting to see higher water.
Michelle, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, thank you. So starting to see higher water in those areas, but no flooding at this point.
Yeah, correct. We have no information at this time along the Fraser of structures being impacted. There are some folks on evacuation alert within the Fraser Valley Regional District, but that's just an alert at this time.
Our next question goes to Colin Dacre, Castanet.
Hi, yeah, this would be for the River Forecast Center. So just judging by the lack of, high stream flow advisories in some of the lower elevation basins like the Okanagan and Similkameen, are we generally speaking, like our flood risk, most of the snow melted there? Are we out of the woods and kind of the risk is shifted to those larger rivers like the Thompson and Fraser?
Yeah, we're seeing that particularly through the south interior that mid-elevation snow has left now. So the risks related to the snowpack have diminished, and that'd be specific for areas around, say, the central and south interior low elevation sites. What we are continuing to see, though, is that we've been having this dominant weather pattern of ongoing unsettled thunder showers, rainfall, that kind of thing. And we saw even earlier this week in places around Kelowna, Mission Creek, that we're still very much susceptible and vulnerable to these heavy rainfall events. And that has been a feature in the weather over the past period. So that's where the key risk continues. So I don't want to say that those areas aren't at risk, but the risks are really coming from the rainfall side of things. And given the forecast for the upcoming period, expect that is still a potential. We don't have any advisories out for the Okanagan or Similkameen at this point, but are continuing to watch the weather for those areas.
Ellen, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I mean, is there much snow at all in those watersheds like Mission Creek? I mean, a lot of these creeks are very full. I mean, they're running very quickly. So is a lot of that water stuff that has fallen in the last couple of days, or is that just on top of, I mean, is there still snow up there melting rapidly, or?
Yeah, we're still seeing, we've got there's a site that the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change Strategy monitors in the headwaters of Mission Creek. It's the high elevation site, about 1,800 meters, and there's still quite a lot of snow up at that site. We're also seeing inflow into Okanagan Lake is more or less at a peak right now. So it's really at that peak cycle, and that's been driven by that high elevation site. So there isn't a lot of high elevation terrain within the Okanagan, but where we do have it, I'll say above probably 1,700 meters, we still see that high elevation snow remaining. So I think it's about half melted at this point. And I expect things like the inflow into Okanagan Lake to start to taper off in the coming weeks.
Our next question goes to Michael Reeves, CFJC Kamloops.
Hi, yeah, thanks. This will be for Dave Campbell. Dave, here in the Kamloops area, we're understanding that the Thompson here expected to peak, at least the city is saying, sometime mid next week. Does that co-align with the numbers you guys are seeing at River Forecast?
Yeah, I mean, the absolute peak can be very difficult to capture with accuracy. We've got that sort of balance of understanding when does the snow hit its sort of peak melt, and then we're putting that over the backdrop of the weather, which remains uncertain beyond that week or so period. Because it's been continuing to be wet, I do have continued concerns that we could see additional rises through the Thompson systems. And we're also seeing on the South Thompson River side of the Thompson through Kamloops that's still continuing to rise. So I do expect that we're in that period of high flows, and we're certainly vulnerable to additional rises if we get adverse weather over the next week or two. So I'm not. I don't think we're at a point where we can quite say that we're at the peak for this year, but we're seeing signs of leveling off on some of the snowmelt. So it's positive, but I don't think we're quite through the period yet.
Michael, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, absolutely. So understanding that, I guess, for citizens here in Kamloops, the biggest concern for them would be a severe weather event happening right now to coincide with the melt we're seeing, correct?
Yeah, definitely. And given that lack of kind of the hot signature in the short term, in the next week, it really is the rainfall side of things. So we're seeing quite a lot of precipitation potential, and that could include areas in the Thompson, particularly the North Thompson. So we're watching for that. We're not seeing that on our forecast right now as being a key risk in the, say into the weekend. But as we come into next week, we'll be continuing to monitor for that scenario.
We have time for one more question. That will go to Chloe Diore de Perigny, CBC.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. It's for Armel Castellan. Could you go back on what you generally expect for the weather for the next coming days in French, please?
Oui, absolument. Merci pour la question. Donc, l'atmosphère reste relativement parlant très instable. Donc, il y a beaucoup de convection. On va parler d'orages sur une grande partie de la province, donc surtout aujourd'hui dans le sud-est, donc à partir de l'Okanagan, mais surtout à l'est de l'Okanagan jusqu'à la frontière avec l'Alberta. On parle de rafales jusqu'à 90 km à l'heure, de la grêle jusqu'à 2 cm et surtout du potentiel jusqu'à 20-25 mm additionnels donc de pluie en courte durée cet après-midi, surtout ce soir. On continue en fait cette convection, ces orages demain et après-demain, peut-être moins sévères, mais quand même une bonne signature à travers la province. Et puis quand on se propage plus vers le nord, dans la région du Caribou et surtout dans le Peace Country, on voit encore un retour des précipitations venant de l'Alberta, donc d'est en ouest. Donc la région des Rockies du nord sont ciblées. Là, on pourrait voir jusqu'à 45 mm à partir de ce matin jusqu'à demain matin, avec encore une potentielle élevée pour des orages. Et cette zone, elle s'affaiblit, mais elle arrive jusqu'à la côte centrale, donc Bulkley Lakes District, et donc ça englobe une grande partie de la province. Et finalement, pour dire que ça reste instable jusqu'en début de semaine, où on pourrait avoir des averses épars à peu près partout, et de garder vraiment une idée de la prévision à venir de jour en jour, parce qu'elle est très dynamique, elle change vraiment sur des 12, des 24 heures.
Chloe, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, please. And taking this situation into account, do you have any advice that you could give to residents in British Columbia so that they stay prepared? Because like you said, the situation could change rapidly. And in French also, please.
Donc, d'accord, mais une fois de plus, je vais parler pour Emergency Management BC, parce que c'est vraiment leur domaine de la préparation. Et le message que Ian Cunnings nous a donné il y a quelques minutes, c'est vraiment d'être vigilant à propos de la situation et qu'elle évolue rapidement. Donc, il y a des choses à faire avant les événements. Est-ce qu'il pourrait y avoir des évacuations dans votre région, dans votre quartier, à votre adresse, et si oui, d'avoir des préparatifs déjà faits avec un sac avec tous les éléments essentiels au cas où une évacuation se propage. Donc, c'est vraiment de savoir à l'avance quelles sont les possibilités de ce risque et d'être préparé au cas où on a cette éventualité. Et ça va jouer beaucoup avec la météo, et comme David Campbell en a parlé il y a quelques minutes. On est au centre des crues du printemps, et donc c'est vraiment pendant les prochains jours et les prochaines semaines où le gros va se jouer, à la fois pour les petites rivières et les grosses. Donc c'est vraiment ce côté préparatif et ce message de préparation qui est important.
And that's all the time we have today. Thank you, everyone. That concludes today's update.